there has been a statement. Have you got it, Sammy? I'll send it. I've got it here. I've got it on your. I'll like it. 1 sec. Yeah, it's on the likes. Romero has made a statement. This is quite something today. Just after the game, he says, apologies to all fans of you who follow us everywhere, who are always there, will always continue to be. We are responsible. There's no doubt about that. I am the first, but we will keep facing up to it and trying to turn the situation around for ourselves and for the club. At times like this, it should be other people coming out to speak, but they don't, as has been happening for several years now. They've only show up when things are going well to tell a few lies. We'll stay here, working, sticking together, and giving our all to turn things around, especially at times like this. Keeping quiet, working harder, and moving forward altogether is part of football. Altogether, it will be easier. At Spurs official. Wow. So he is saying he's calling out the board, essentially. I'm guessing he's calling out the hierarchy
100%.
there. And we've seen him do that before. In the summer, he said the problem that has been there for years and will always be after Ange was sacked and we appointed, just before we appointed Frank. He's now saying other people should be coming out to speak, but they don't, as has been happening for several years now.
Fair play, Cootie.
So
fair play, Cootie, for putting this
making
out
a
there.
statement, essentially.
Fair play.
Calling out the hierarchy.
Fair play for him pointing and pointing out at the few lies as well, because that's what's been. Look, how many we were lied to this summer. Oh, we want to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. So is this how you win it? By bringing in Frank and bringing in the players that we brought in?
Wow.
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by Cootie.
And this is a guy, by the way, who signed a contract in the summer, who's become our club captain. He cares about this football club.
He does.
I really believe that.
I believe he does as well.
He's someone who sees what's happening at this football club. And time after time, year after year, we are being undercut. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think the players that we have should be doing better? Absolutely.
100%.
But when from his point of view, he sees a club with big resources, big ability to spend money, attract players, attract better players, and yet every window we're not acting like big clubs, and we're not giving the team the best chance to succeed. And that is what he's calling out. He's saying right now they've been telling lies. Like maybe one of the lies, Frank's been brought in to challenge on multiple fronts. Where's the challenging? You know, that's not totally Frank's fault, but he's, is that part of the narrative? Like so he's he's saying how we didn't hear anything from the hierarchy. Then once we won the Europa League, we had statements from Levy and statements here, and the Lewis family making statements in the summer about wanting to do this and that. Vinay talking about wanting to do this and that when things are doing okay.
It's just
and then
lip service,
when things are going badly, they hide behind the managers and the players all the time.
Oh, they've sacked managers and hired managers for the last 20 odd years. That's been the modus operandi, hasn't it?
They only show up when things are going well to tell a few lies.
Yeah, that is huge words. I'm glad he's done it. I'm glad. He's either fishing for a move away or he really deeply cares about this club. Can be a bit of both.
But what do you think is born... So, Levy's left this summer. We now have the Lewis family, we have Vinay, we have Lange, whatever. Before we were thinking, if he would make the statement at the beginning of the season, you would say that's directed at Daniel Levy. He's gone. So who is that directed to? Is it directed to the Lewis family? Is it directed at Vinay? Is it just directed to the whole thing as a whole, the hierarchy? Enoch? Is it directed at Enoch as a whole?
I think it's directed at Enoch.
Because they're still here, they're still
here, they're still the same owners. Okay, Levy's gone, but he still owns 30% of the club ish. He's still probably in contact with all of Enoch. I don't know. I'm glad he's done it because he's pointing at least the fingers in the right direction. I just think that it shows you what a sad state of affairs our club is when our club captain is putting out something like this. This is not a harmonious body. Do you know what I mean? If everyone pushing in the right direction, in the same direction, that's not us. We're like a boat with people all paddling in different directions. One going left, one going right, one going round and round.
Let me just see. Apparently, Porro replied to the message as well. Let me just see if I can get that up because Porro agrees. Look, I'm not surprised if he maybe did a thumbs up or something, but I'm sure Romero's obviously said this. But I'm sure it's probably common sentiment in the
for the players
room.
for sure.
Yeah, it can't be just Romero who's thinking that. But it's
listen, this dressing room hasn't looked right since Bilbao. It hasn't looked right.
This season, there's clearly been something going on because we've seen it. We've seen it on the pitch. The players boiling over. That only happens.
Van de Ven hasn't snapped the way he snapped this season. I haven't seen him like that before.
Where is it on it? Why can't I see it? Where is it on his? Is it not on his Instagram? Has he deleted it? Oh, well, maybe it's on his Twitter.
It's on Twitter.
No, I can't see it on his Insta.
Oh, there it is. It's on Instagram. Got it here.
So I'm just trying to see where what's Porro said. Porro said, "Amen. Keep going, brother. We have a lot of battles left." Richarlison with a clapping emoji.
All of them praising Captain Cootie, eh?
Wow. But this is a very interesting dynamic we have here. You have the players calling out the board publicly. You never really... When do you ever get that? Because
Not a lot.
they're employees of the club. They're directing criticism at people who pay their wages. We have seen what has happened to Maresca, and we've seen what's happened to Amorim. What's happened, but it's very easy to sack a manager when you're the hierarchy, when they're calling you out, because that's just one person
100%.
that you can remove. When it's a playing group players, now they've got a serious issue on their hands. Because what they're supposed to do, you can't just sell everyone.
You can't do that.
You can't just sack them because that would be fucking crazy to sack you players worth millions and millions of assets. How do you go if you're the hierarchy dealing with a situation where you're essentially getting a revolt from your playing staff, which I can't believe in my years of supporting publicly anyway, I don't remember a situation where a player has come out criticising the hierarchy of a football club, all the players agree with it, and now you've got a public situation here, which Frank will be asked about in his next press conference, I'm
100%
sure.
He'll be asked about it, 100%. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the past that has kind of been similar. You've had the odd players have falling outs, right, with management and board level and that kind of thing.
Players and managers, one thing. That's about football.
No,
but this is about how a club is run.
Yeah.
When do you ever have public criticism of a hierarchy from players? It's very rare. Usually the managers get the blame, and it's all down to the manager. When it comes to a hierarchy, how do you go about dealing with that situation?
Go and hire a proper manager.
Is it a case of that they're not happy with the manager they have?
I think for sure it's got a lot to do with the manager, Sim.
Is it a case of they're not happy with the players they're playing with? Like, the investment in the team?
For sure. Investment with the team, the manager himself. I think that they all wanted Ange backed. If this had all been under Ange, I don't think you would have seen this kind of revolt from Cuti Romero. I don't think you would have seen it.
And it was interesting, the first time we heard about Romero is when, on the day, I think it was when Ange got sacked. That was when he made the original statement.
Yeah.
So do you think, is that part of it? The fact that it's Thomas Frank in charge?
I think it has to be.
Because Frank's not going to say anything against the board.
Yeah, but you know, if you're in a toxic work environment and there's people above you that you know are so incompetent, you're going to have to do something to ruffle a few feathers. That's what Cooty's done here.
Mm-hmm.
He's ruffling a few feathers.
Is he trying to wake him up, saying, "Look, we have to change massively"?
Yes, that's what he's doing.
And it's not a surprise he's doing it during January.
It makes sense
when they can
actually do something about it. So I'm happy.
I'm delighted he's made it. I'm delighted he's putting pressure on the hierarchy.
100%.
And he's not mincing his words. He's saying you're lying. He's telling them these guys are lying to you.
Yeah.
They're saying they want to win games. They're saying all this and they're lying. Right? And I'm delighted with that.
Well, we know that. The thing is, as fans, we know that. Enoch told us that when they came in.
It's nice to hear the players understand that.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it shows that they've got in understanding of what's really going on.
But of course they do. You know, Romero's been there for how many years now? He's gone through how many managers now? He's seen how many different types of footballing mentalities, ideologies, etc., etc.
People said he's not calling out Frank, he's calling out the board. I understand that. But
he's not calling out Frank.
No, he's calling
out the board.
But why?
But who made the decision to bring the Frank in?
Is the board. And my point would be: is the decision to hire Frank part of what he's upset about?
I think so.
Is it also? But is it mainly? Would you say? Do you think it's mainly just the investment in the team, and that is that what his main criticism would probably be?
Bit of both there.
Because I think the decision to hire Frank must be in that, only because the first time he did make a statement was after Ange got sacked. It was actually, if you remember, it was the day Frank got hired, I think. I think we announced Frank and he made a statement.
After he was hired?
Oh, literally, I think like half an hour or like an hour after.
Once he found out who the manager was?
Once Frank was announced at Tottenham.
That's when he put it out?
He put it out. So I'm not saying at that point he was against Frank himself, but he didn't want
against
Ange
the
sacked.
decision. Yeah,
It was against the decision to sack Ange. Now we're here. I do think that is probably part of it, but I also must say it must be. We saw last season how the lack of investment and massively hurt us.
Yeah.
You know, playing Gray, but teenagers, Forster, these players consistently because of injuries, wherever we had to use them so much, and that was what contributed to our downfall. Now this season, we've known from the beginning of the season we've had long-term injuries, and we've gone some way to address it, but we haven't fully addressed it. And now we're in a situation where we're in big trouble. Kudus, Bergvall, Bentancur, all injured. Madison, Kulusevski, Solanke are nowhere near getting back fit. So we are now in deep trouble when it comes to injury problems again. And we're relying on players. We're selling Brennan Johnson, and now we're relying on players that is not good enough to be relying on right now. And look, and I understand. I think the players are within themselves are not bad players, and they should be doing more. But when it comes to Romero, when I'm talking about doing more, that's not good enough for him. You know what I mean? When I say these players should be doing more, that's like my assessment of the manager and the players. But for him, if let's say I say these players could be doing more. What do I mean by that? They could be 7th, they could be 8th. That's not good enough for Romero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if they were doing more, that's still not enough. That's just better than this.
Why would a World Cup winner want to be 7th in the league?
Exactly. So he's looking at the situation thinking we've got players who could maybe get us 7th out injured. Now we're 13th, right? And even if they have to come back, that's still not enough. And we're being left by the wayside, and we're being neglected from the hierarchy, who are always holding everyone accountable, except themselves.
Everyone except themselves.
And they're not acknowledging the role they've played and where Tottenham are right now. I guess maybe you could say with Daniel Levy gone, is that an acknowledgement of what's happened? But he's clearly still not happy with the people who are there.
Are you happy with the people that are there?
No, I'm not happy with the people there.
Lange, what is the point of him? Paratici wanted to bring
saying...
Gattuso in, one of the worst managers ever, wanted to bring his mate in to be our manager. Last year, 2 years ago, whenever it was.
Even from the beginning, I'm very sceptical of it's Enoch 2.0. I'm not buying into it.
I'm not buying into it either, Sim. I'm not buying into it.
No way, because I refuse to believe that Levy... understand Levy was the head honcho, but... Mate, it's not like these people who are here now were completely aware.
They've done what they've done with what they did with all the managers over the years. They've done with Levy. He'll be a little fool guy, And there you go. That will continue to milk the cow.
But it's going to be very interesting to see what the club do. Do the club address it? Do they ignore it?
They have to address it.
Well, Frank has to, not
Frank
the club.
has to.
The club doesn't have to. Vinay or Lange or any of these guys.
They have to do something. They're not going to... Of course they will.
No, they don't. They just leave it... Well, I know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they'll ask Frank about it, and he'll go, well, you have to ask Kuti who he means.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't asked him.
Yeah.
That's it.
You
Then they'll
think?
be brushed over, 100%. You think the club are going to make a statement on this? No chance.
You don't think they'll put
No
a statement?
chance. They'll do their best to try and let it blow over.
You reckon?
100%.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
That's
The journalists will ask Frank about it tomorrow.
really weak management.
That's what they'll do.
Well,
The journalists will ask Frank on the presser
weak.
tomorrow or Friday, and they say, Romero said this. Who's he referring? Who do you think he's referring to? And he'll say, I don't know. You have to ask Kuti.
Well, you know what? There should be a meeting tomorrow, and Kuti should be dragged in. At the end of the day, he's an employee. He's not.
Oh, they might address it behind the scenes.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
They
behind
need
the scenes they'll address it. Yeah. I'm saying publicly.
Okay, no.
Behind the scenes
they
they'll
need
probably
to address
it.
Yeah.
They'll probably talk to him. Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have
Now
to.
that they do, and that's good. That means, hopefully he gives them
Hopefully some understanding. Yeah, some understanding can come from it. Because if I was Kuti, I would say these are the things that I want to see from my club and where I'm going. Or, that contract we signed. Well, guess what? Got this team who wants to sign me.
Yeah, but we still have to accept an offer, don't we?
Yeah, but what are we going
But
to do?
we've
What are we going to do? Keep a player there unhappy on wages?
100%. The problem is we've seen this season there's been something off with the performances. It's not just been... it's not just... As much as it's on the manager to get the team motivated and almost come out in the setup, and I still criticise Frank for that. But there's been something off about the mentality.
Issues and the dressing room.
You can sense it. The way Van der Ven and Spence stormed off that
100%.
The way they're fighting with fans and they're not happy with what's going on. And I think what's happening is they're starting to feel the brunt of it from the fans and the away fans, and they say Romero's now taking some leadership and saying, well, I need to say something here because they're going at us and they're going at the team and they're booing and everything, and it's not right. We shouldn't be held fully accountable. These are the guys who are truly to blame for what's
and
going
I
on
thank
at the top.
Kuti for that. I thank him for that. That is fantastic leadership from Kuti. And he's bringing the other players along with him, which is smart. As a captain, it's smart.
Yeah, and but have you ever seen a situation like this where a player has publicly made a statement criticising the board of a football club? All the players in the comments are clapping and agreeing, so they all agree with. There's a sentiment in the dressing room now, so it kind of pits the players up against the board. How do we move forward from that? Because it's the players' job to win football matches, which is obviously obviously will be good for the board, and that's all they want as well, is to us to win more football matches. But they're criticising us not being in the right conditions. So where does that leave us as a club when that is the underlying problems here? Like, how do we address that? Obviously, it's all well and good. We want to sign players and stuff, but the players are getting paid good money by the football club to do their best to win games. They're complaining that I'm not saying they're not doing that, but there is a subconscious, clearly feeling within this dressing room when you can see it on the pitch that. I'm not saying they're not giving her all, but subconsciously, look at today, Romero, when he's closing down that shot. I'm not saying he's on purpose not closing down, but if he was fully focused, fully bought into what's happening at this club,
putting his body on the line.
He puts his body on the line because he's just switched on. And right now, he's not. And we've seen it with Romero. He's been making more and more mistakes recently. And that's because we've always known with Romero, when he's not 100% with it and focused, he starts to let these things creep in. And that is what's been happening recently. Now I can understand why, because he's got these feelings within inside him about what's going on with the club.
His heart's not fully in the right place.
Yeah, but his heart's with Tottenham, but it clearly hurts him what's going on at Tottenham. He thinks we're capable of so much more. He said in that statement in the summer, it's a beautiful club that can do whatever it wants. It can do whatever the sky's the limit, essentially. And things that are holding us back, we're being held back. So that's his feeling. Now, people can criticise him for having those feelings and, you should put them aside and always do your best, which I'm sure he's trying to do his best. But there's a difference between doing your best and then when subconsciously you have those thoughts and feelings, you can't just ignore them. Especially for a guy like Romero, who's very emotional and he wears his heart on his sleeve. It's not something he can clearly, it's not something you can put to one side. But how do we move forward as a club when you have that situation? How is that addressed? Do they have a chat? We're on mute? No. Have I just been on mute for the whole time? No. But yeah, how do we address that as a football club? Because it's a very weird situation.
It is a weird situation. It is a weird, but I think they'll do it behind closed doors. They will deal with this internally. I don't think you'll see too many more texts and things. And
no, but my point being is, from now, I'm not saying these players are going to down tools, but it's implying that they're revolting against the hierarchy. And what's the only way to do that? Downing
tools is one of them. But
right, that's my point, and that's not an acceptable solution, is it? Not to fans.
No.
So how are we going about appreciating the message? But how do you get that message across apart from statements? My point being, they're making these statements, but how are they going to in future hold the hierarchy to accountable? What's the consequences of the hierarchy not listening to their criticisms or not hearing them out? Is it them downing? Is it them downing tools? Is it more statements? Is it just them putting in transfer requests?
Could be all of the above. Could be a mix of things. You think about what a disgruntled employee does at work. You might do the least possible. Do you know what I mean? He might be the worst employee there for the next couple of months until he's gone to his next job. They might cause trouble. They might be causing trouble already, Sim. We don't know. What we do know is that we're in one hell of a mess between board, players, fans.
We've heard, by the way, behind the scenes, we've heard there's a split in the boardroom whether to sack Frank or not, because no one has the final say. And it's a collaborative thing or whatever, and no one's making that final decision. I've heard that Fabio is leaving because one of his thoughts is he wants Frank gone.
Good, go as well while you're
We've heard there's now discontent with Romero and the hierarchy with what's going on over there. We've heard rumours behind the scenes that the players don't really like how Frank wants to play football. So the whole thing is, we've got fans and players clashing on the pitch after every game nearly now. What is... this football club is an absolute mess.
Yeah.
It's an absolute crazy mess.
Yep.
How do we sort this mess out?
Step by step. Step by step, Sim.
Oh, this football club.
It's not just going to happen overnight. This is a process. If you want to talk about a process, this is a process that we're going through. It's going to take I think there's a lot more pain in it for us before things start getting better, to be honest with you, Sim. Because I can't see this season things turning around for us. I know people are saying sack Frank, bring in Xavi, bring in whoever, bring in... But even with that, things aren't just going to get rosy overnight, are they? In the situation we're in, being realistic.
No, but I just find it fascinating that because before he was calling out the board, but he did it in a more subtle way. Yeah. But I think everyone could tell he was calling out the board. Yeah. This is pretty blatant.
It's very blatant.
It's pretty I don't really see what else he could be talking about unless he's. I mean, he can't be talking about Frank because Frank talks every game. So you can't be saying Frank only comes out when things are going well, because he doesn't. He comes out every game. So he's not talking about the manager. He has to be talking about the hierarchy, obviously.
He is talking about the hierarchy.
He is. He's talking about the hierarchy. But how do... it's just going to be very interesting to see how the club kind of approach this situation, because you've clearly got a bunch of disgruntled players. Now, the way you deal with when a manager's in that situation, like as I said, when Amorim and Maresca went against the hierarchy, they were gone. But you can sack a manager. Yeah. That managers can be sacked. That's an easy solution. Yeah. There's no easy solution to this.
Players
Unless there's a major
contracts
clear
can
out.
be terminated.
But they would never do that.
They wouldn't do
Never
that.
do. They'll never do that in a million years.
Yeah, because we all know ENIC what the bottom line is.
No, it's just a stupid thing to do. You sell them.
Yeah.
We could maybe put them all on the transfer list.
Yeah, but there's examples.
the
Ed
solution?
Dombele, we had to tear up his contract, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think it ran it down, didn't we? We just loaned him out.
I thought we tore it up in the end.
Yeah,
no?
with a year left, maybe. Not with
a year left.
multiple years left.
I see.
Maybe with a year left. I think we did. I can't remember.
I think we did.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know how do you deal with a disgruntled dressing room who's angry at the hierarchy, not necessarily the manager. How do they go about dealing with that? Do they put a bunch of them on the transfer list? What do they do? Is that the way they move forward? Anyway, that is some breaking news on Kuti Romero. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are, how Tottenham deal with the situation. How do we get out of this mess? Absolutely crazy.